This is Teach Me IGCSE. I'm Ms. J, and today we will be doing the Edexcel IGCSE May 2023 Paper 1H. Question 1. Last season, the number of goals scored by Arjun, by Simon, and by Kath for their football team were in ratios 2 to 5 to 8. Simon scored 12 more goals than Arjun. Work out the number of goals scored by Kath. So the ratio is a comparison between the three quantities, and in this case is the number of goals scored by each person. And remember that each value corresponds to the order that the name come in. So we can say that Arjun scored 2x, Simon scored 5x, and Kat scored 8x goals. And we were given that Simon scored 12 more goals than Arjun. So we'll take 5x minus 2x, which is the difference in the goal scored, which is 3x, and that will be equal to 12. And x will be equal to 4. Now we have to find how many goals Kath scored. That would be 8x, so we do 8 multiplied by 4, and we get 32. Question 2. The table gives information about the number of minutes that Abby spent walking a day in September. Work out an estimate for the total number of minutes that Abby spent walking in September. So when we see this kind of question, a lot of students will often try to find the mean, which they ask a lot. But here, we only want the total number of minutes that she spent walking. So we'll take the midpoint of each range here in the table. This will be 15, this will be 45, this will be 75, this will be 105, and this is 135. And then we'll take that midpoint and multiply by the frequency of each range. So first one we'll do 15 multiplied by 5, which is 75. And you can take your calculator and do this. 45 times 6 is 270. 75 times 8, 600. 105 times 9 is 945. 135 times 2 is 270. And all we have to do is add those numbers up. So put that into your calculator. And we get 2,160. And that's going to be the total number of minutes that she spent walking in September. Moving on to question 3. Nanette buys 60 notebooks for a total cost of 780 dirhams. She sells 70% of the notebooks for 22 dirhams each. She sells the remaining notebooks for 19 each. Work out the percentage profit and give your answers to 3 significant figures. So we know she bought 60 notebooks for 780 dirhams. And out of those 60, she sold 70% of it for 22 each. So to find 70%, we just do 0.7 times 60, and it's equal to 42 notebooks. 42 notebooks, which she sold for 22 each. So the money that she gets from that will be 924. The rest of the notebooks, so we have 60 minus 42, and it's equal to 18 notebooks. 18 notebooks, which she will sell for 19 dirhams each. 18 times 19, she gets 342 from the remaining notebooks. Work out Lynette's percentage profit. So let's find her total profit first. So we have 924 plus 342, but we also have to minus 780 because that's how much she spent to buy the 60 notebooks. So 924 plus 342 minus 780 is equal to 486 dirhams. And we need to find the percentage profit. So we take 486 divided by how much she spent, 486 over 780. Take that, multiply it by 100 to get the percentage, and we get 62.3%, because we need to find it in 3 significant figures. So 1, 2, 3, 62.3%. Question 3. The diagram shows a sketch of triangle A and triangle B on a coordinate grid. Given that triangle A has been translated to give triangle B, work out the value of D, the value of E, and the value of F. So I've circled here the only 2 points which we have the full information. We have both the value of the x-axis and the y-axis before and after the translation. So if we write it down, -7, 2, 6, and 12. So first we can look at the movement across the x-axis, which is found by 6 minus 7. This becomes a positive, which is equal to 13. So it has moved to the right by 13. Now looking at movement up the y-axis, can take 12 minus 2, which is equal to 10. This has moved up by 10. To find D, E, and F, all of the other points has to have moved the same. So it has to move 13 across the x-axis and 10 up the y-axis. So we have this point here, which is -11 minus 5. We can do -11 plus 13, which is what we have here. This will be equal to 2, which we have here. And the y-axis will move up by 10. This will be equal to 5. So we already have this point here, which is 2 and +5. So D is equal to 5. Next, we're going to find F and E. E we can find, so since this value is -3, this is a y, -3 will plus 10 up the y-axis, and we get a +7. So this point here will be 9 and 7. So E is equal to 7. Next is F, sorry. As we already have the x value here after translation, we'll do 9. Alright. In this case, we have to do -13, because this is the value we have after the translation. So we want to find the initial point on the x-axis. So it'll be 9 minus 13, and this will give us -4. So F will be equal to -4. Part B. The diagram shows shape P and shape Q drawn on a grid. Describe fully the single transformation that maps shape P onto shape Q. So clearly we see that the shape is enlarged. So it's going to be enlargement by a scale factor of something about a center something. So first we find the scale factor. So we take the point on the smaller shape to the same point on the bigger shape, like this. Just wait for the lines to be straight. Okay. And okay, first we need to find the center that enlarges by. So if we extend these lines that we just draw, extend it as much as we could, you can see that they all meet at the same point, and this is our center of enlargement 0, 2. Now we can find the scale factor. So as you see, from this point to this point here on the small shape P, it goes through 3 squares across the x-axis, and then another 3, and then another 3, which means 1, 2, 3. The scale factor is 3, so we will say enlargement by a scale factor of 3 by the center 0, 2. On the grid above, rotate shape P 90 degrees clockwise about 3, 5. Label your shape R. So in the exam, you are allowed tracing paper. So I would take the tracing paper and mark the point you're supposed to rotate by about, and also trace the shape that you're supposed to rotate. So here in the exam is going to be easier than this, but if you see, I mark the point like an X so that each angle is 90 degrees. And you'll see this later why I do this. So I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees clockwise. So it's this way, and there we rotate it by 90 degrees here. So this is a shape that we get. You want to draw that again for the lines to be straight. So it would look somewhat like, hold on, how did it look like before? Okay, alright. So it's gonna be here, and it goes something like this, and you label it R. So every time that you rotate it 90 degrees, you have to rotate the X, this X, until it becomes an X again. So you don't want it looking like this. If they ask you to rotate it by 45 degrees, yes, you will rotate by the next plus sign. But if it's 90, you rotate by the next X sign. So that is our rotated shape, R. Question 5. The diagram shows a shaded shape AEBCD made by removing triangle AEB from the rectangle ABC and D. Work out the perimeter of the shaded shape. So this shape is made up of 5 sides, which 3 are given. And since this is a triangle, the side AD will also be 6 centimeters. So we only have one unknown side, and it is DC here. So we can find the same length over here, which makes up the triangle AEB, which is removed. And we have both sides of the triangle, which means we can use Pythagoras. This is when we do a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So in this case, we'll have 7.2 squared, which is the one side of the triangle, plus the other side of the triangle, 5.4 squared, and it's equal to this AB squared. And to find the length AB, we'll just put it like this and plug it into your calculator. This will give us exactly 9. So we have the length of AB, and since this is a triangle, DC will also be 9. So we add them all up together to find the perimeter. So it'll be 6 plus 7.2 2 plus 5.4 plus 6 plus 9, and that gives us 33.6 centimeters.